Hello, third graders. Welcome back. This is Dr. Davis here, and we're going to continue learning about the human body. Our last lesson was a pausing point, so now it is time for lesson 6. Can you believe it? We're halfway through. So today I want you listening very carefully so you can learn more about the nervous system. And you're going to listen about the different parts of the brain and the brain's function as the command center in the central of the nervous system. Remember our friend here, Ricardo? Hi, I've got lots of fascinating facts to share with you today, so I'm hoping that my brain is in good working order. There's a lot to remember. Raise your hand if you have a brain. All hands should be going up out there. Phew, I'm glad all hands went up. Yes, of course you have a brain. All vertebrates have brains. Who remembers what else all vertebrates have? Right, backbones. You know that you have a backbone. You've been testing out those wonderfully flexible spines that support your bodies and protect your spinal cords. You've learned that your nervous system is a complex network with two essential organs, your spinal cord and your brain. Your spinal cord is connected to your brain by your brain stem, the central trunk of the brain. Your brain itself is very soft, but it is well protected by your cranium or brain case. This strong eggshell-shaped part of your skull is formed from 8 interlocking bones wedged together like the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. Inside your skull, your brain floats in a clear liquid that cushions it and keeps it from banging against your skull. Your brain is covered in grooves and folds resembling a huge walnut. About the size of a cantaloupe or a grapefruit, this jelly-like pinkish gray blob has blood vessels running all through its wrinkled mass. They carry oxygen, water, and other important nutrients to the brain. The brain, when fully grown, weighs about 3 pounds. That may seem pretty small and light for such a big body, but humans have larger brains than animals when compared with their body size. So even though the brains of elephants and whales are actually larger than human brains, their brains are smaller than ours compared with the enormous size of their bodies. Now listen carefully, friends. There are 3 main sections of the brain. They are the brain stem, the cerebrum, and the cerebellum. Brain stem, cerebrum, which is this section here, and the cerebellum, which is this section here. Each part of the brain has an important function. Your brain stem, about as thick as your thumb, put your thumb up. It's about this thick, okay? It's approximately 3 inches long. It helps to relay messages between your brain and your spinal cord. The bottom third of your brain stem, the part that blends into the top of your spinal cord, is called the medulla. The medulla is responsible for many of your body's involuntary or automatic muscle movements. The medulla makes sure that your lungs are receiving oxygen by controlling your breathing and making sure that your heart is beating. The medulla helps you swallow and break down food in your digestive system. The medulla controls your coughs and sneezes and hiccups, as well as when you are sleeping and dreaming. It also controls the movement of your head and neck. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, filling the whole upper part of your skull. Language, memory, thoughts, sensations, and decision-making are housed in your cerebrum. Your cerebrum is the thinking brain, and the part of the cerebrum that does most of the thinking is called the cerebral cortex. Can you say that? Cerebral cortex. Good job. Your cortex is the deeply wrinkled outer surface of the cerebrum. The more that it is used, the thicker it becomes. In other words, people who use their brains to think a lot develop thicker cortexes. Do you think your cortex is getting any thicker? It is, because you are learning a lot each day. Now let's look more closely at the cerebrum. The cerebrum is divided into two halves, or hemispheres. Let's say that word. Hemispheres. Good job. The two hemispheres of the brain, the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere, are linked to one another by thick nerve fibers. Interestingly, the nerves that connect your cerebrum to the rest of your body cross over to the opposite side as they enter your brain. This means that each hemisphere largely controls the muscles on the opposite side of the body. The left side of your cerebrum controls muscles on the right side of your body, and the right side of your cerebrum controls muscles on the left side of your body. One hemisphere is usually more developed than the other in most people. If you use the right side of your body more, that is, you kick with your right foot and you hold your pencil in your right hand, the left hemisphere is dominant or in control. It is the left hemisphere that is mostly associated with language, math, and reading. If, however, you use the left side of your body more, that is, you kick with your left foot and you hold your pencil in your left hand, the right hemisphere is dominant. The right hemisphere is mostly associated with imagination, music, and shapes. The third part of the brain, in addition to the brain stem and the cerebrum, is called the cerebellum, meaning little brain. Tucked under your cerebrum in the back of your brain, your cerebellum resembles your cerebrum with two hemispheres of its own. Your cerebellum is the control center for balance and coordination. It is constantly adjusting the way your body moves. As you practice any physical activity, such as dancing, your cerebellum receives messages about your body's actions and positions. It sends commands back to your muscles, adjusting your movements. So in other words, it's not just about you doing the movement. The brain is helping you to improve as you practice. As your cerebellum gradually becomes more accurate in its corrections, you begin to notice improvements in your dancing or whatever activity you are trying to perfect. For example, if you have learned to ride a bike, chances are you didn't master it all at once. I know I did not. It took practice. Your cerebellum was in charge of your balance and coordination, making small adjustments with each improvement until you could pedal quickly and furiously on your own without even thinking about it. Now, let's try an experiment to demonstrate what the cerebellum does. Close your eyes and reach your arms out to the side so that your body makes the shape of a T. So you're going to hold your arms out like this. Okay? Good job. Now, slowly bring your arms forward, touching the tips of your fingers together. So your arms are out like this, and you're going to slowly pull them in so that your fingertips are touching. Good. Now, you may open your eyes now. So let's try it again. I want you to do it with your eyes closed, because I know you were listening and you were maybe watching me. So your arms out to your side with your eyes closed, keeping your eyes closed. Bring your hands together so that your fingertips are touching. Okay, good. Now you may open your eyes. Was that easy for you? Some of you may be saying yes. Some of you may be saying no, that was a little tough. Your cerebellum coordinated your movements for you. If you damaged your cerebellum, you would not be able to do that simple exercise. No matter how hard you tried, your hands would jerk around without your control. Now, let's put all the parts of your brain together. Look at this picture of the brain. See if you can identify the three parts: the brain stem, the cerebrum, and the cerebellum. I'm going to ask you the three riddles to test your knowledge and see how well your brain is working. Before we begin, where is the cerebrum? Yes, that's our section up here. Where is the brain stem? Yes, the section down here. And where is the cerebellum? Yes, this section back here. All right, now listen carefully to my riddles. I am the largest part of the brain, divided into two halves. I'm sometimes called the thinking brain. What am I? That is the cerebrum. The cerebrum. I am only 3 inches long, but without me, the spinal cord would not be connected to the brain. One of my parts is called the medulla. What am I? The brainstem. Good job. Next one. I look a lot like the cerebrum with 2 hemispheres of my own, but I am much smaller. Without me, you would not be able to balance on one leg. What am I? The cerebellum. Good job. Great job, everyone. Now, your brain is not very big, but yet it is more powerful than the strongest computer ever created. All other systems of the body are dependent upon this complex 3-pound organ that lives inside your skull. Your brain is the center of your memory, thoughts, and feelings. Your brain is in command of your entire body. When your brain stops working, the rest of your body will stop working as well. Well, I think I remembered everything I wanted to tell you today. Next time, we'll look inside your skull some more to see what else is tucked away within those bones in addition to the brain. See you then. All right, so now let's look at some comprehension questions to see how much you remember about the information that you've heard today. Label the parts of the brain: cerebellum, brainstem, and cerebrum. So as you're looking at this, pause a moment and tell me which word goes where. This top part, remember the halves, is the cerebrum. The brainstem, this bottom part, remember about 3 inches long when you think about your thumb, the brainstem. And the cerebellum is right here, this lower part of the brain. All right, so what is the medulla or lower part of the brainstem responsible for controlling? Think about that. What is the cerebrum responsible for controlling and managing? And what is the cerebellum responsible for controlling? So those were the 3 main parts, and this was the most important information that we really wanted you to remember about today's lesson. So the brainstem. What is it responsible for controlling? The body's many involuntary and automatic movements. Remember, it connects the bottom of your brain to what? Your spinal cord. And remember, we talked about all of those nerves that are coming out from the spinal cords that are coming all throughout your body. So it's helping to send those messages. So yes, those involuntary movements, they're very necessary. So the brainstem is important. The cerebrum, what is it responsible for? Our language, as we're talking and we're using words. Our memories, our thoughts, sensations, and decision making. And then the cerebellum. So what was left? What are the other things that we do? Balance and coordination. Remember, we talked about it. It even gave an example if you're learning to do something like ride a bike, or sometimes when you're learning to do a new dance move, or if you're in sports and you're learning how to shoot a basketball. Any of those things, that balance and coordination, and it helps us as we're making movements more accurate each time they are practiced. So as you continue to practice, not only is it the movements that you're making with your hands and your arms and your body parts, it's also your brain that helps you to be more accurate. And now time for a brain break. So I need all of my friends to stand up. Now this time we're going to do something called body shape tracing, okay? I am going to hold up a shape, and I'm going to name a body part, and you're going to use that body part to make the shape. So here, we have, what shape? A rectangle. Now simply put your hand out in front, and I want you to trace the shape of a rectangle. Make your rectangle bigger. Now use the other hand, pointing your finger, and make the shape of a rectangle. All right, now use your foot on the floor and make the shape of a rectangle. You can't see my foot, but I'm making a rectangle. Good job. Now, listen carefully. Use your elbow and make a rectangle. Okay, good job. Here we go. Circle. Same thing. This time, I want you to use your head to make a circle. Make a smaller circle with your head. Make the biggest circle you can with your head. That might mean you have to use your whole body to go around. Okay, great job. Now, use your knee to make a circle. Make another circle. Use your other knee and make a circle. Good job. This time, a square. Can you make a square? All right, this time I want you to use your foot to make a square. Now use your other foot to make a square. Now I want you to use your arm to make a square. And now I want you to have a seat so we can get back to work. Good job. Okay, friends, so our word for today is hemisphere. In the read aloud, you heard the cerebrum is divided into two halves or hemispheres. Can you say hemispheres? Good job, hemispheres. Hemispheres are halves of a sphere or sphere-like objects such as halves of the earth or halves of the cerebrum. The United States is located in the northern hemisphere, which is the northern half of Earth, when separated horizontally at the equator into the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So let me use the globe to show you. So we've got North America. And when we look at the globe in this way, or the earth in this way, this section here is the northern hemisphere. You can't see it right where you are, but right here is our equator. And that's how we determine what's the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Here is North America, so North America is in the northern hemisphere. Now, where do you think Antarctica is? Yes, it's down here, so it would be in the southern hemisphere. Now, what word are we talking about today? Hemisphere, that's exactly right. What part of speech is the word hemisphere? Yes, it is a noun. So when we've talked about hemisphere today, we've used it in context with the globe, and we've talked about it with our brain because it is sphere-like, and we have a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. Well, that's all for today, friends. I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson. Until then, so long for now.